This house belongs to you guys, the eldest son and his wife. I'm planning to pass it on as an inheritance." Shocked by my husband's words, I wondered if he had lost his mind. To think he would give away this house, registered in my name, to our eldest son and his wife. "Hey Mom, get out of here now." The eldest son's wife laughed loudly in front of me. "For the past 5 years, I've been working hard to pay off the mortgage, and I felt sympathy for myself. All right, I'll leave." I declared it indifferently and silently began to pack up my belongings. Only my granddaughter, who had been watching the whole time, looked at me with a worried expression. I can't turn my back on her no matter what happens. Now that it has come to this, I can't let them get away with it. I made a firm vow of revenge against them in my heart. My name is Emily. I will be 60 years old soon. At the end of this month, my husband John, who is retiring, and I will have been married for 36 years. He was a quiet and very calm husband at first, but about a year into our marriage, his true nature began to show bit by bit. Looking back now, it's hard to recall the peaceful man he was when we were newlyweds. He has changed so much. I was hired as a clerical worker at the head office of a nursing care business when I was 48. I have gained 12 years of experience there, and currently, I am entrusted with the duties of a chief officer. The workplace offers good treatment, so my income is by no means small. I receive a monthly salary of about $1,800, and in addition, bonuses are paid twice a year. As a result, my annual income is close to $60,000. However, after paying off the mortgage, the amount of money actually left in my hands is not so abundant. Come on, Emily. Why are you dawdling? I told you there's a drinking party tonight. I told you to give me at least $330. I have to leave soon. Everyone is concerned about me retiring. You understand that I don't want to be seen in a bad light because of money issues, right? My husband's voice, as he adjusted his tie in the living room, sounded slightly harsh in my ears. I had indeed heard that there was a drinking party about 3 days ago, but he never mentioned that he needed $330. He just imperiously demanded money because of the drinking party. I managed to prepare an amount close to the market price, but it took considerable effort. Does he truly understand how much the mortgage on this house strains our finances? I worry if he's fully aware that I'm paying a substantial sum of $1,400 every month as a mortgage. And he, comfortably living in that house. I know about the drinking party and the money issue, but this is the first time I've heard about the $330. Did you mention it? What are you talking about? $330 is a given. Don't tell me you haven't prepared it? Even when I tried to speak in a softer tone, his expression remained unchanged. When I informed him that I've only prepared $130 right now, his face turned completely, and his voice grew louder. This is the farewell drinking party for John, the section chief. This is the grand finale right before my retirement. Are you trying to suffice with just $130 for me, the star of the evening? Are you deliberately trying to put me in a tight spot? I wonder who he thinks is the one causing inconvenience. If you truly appreciate me, you should be more thoughtful and prepare at least $660. But in reality, I know that the reason my husband only rose to the position of section chief is that he finally attained that position in his mid-40s. I secretly think that this position is the company's fair evaluation of his abilities. And I find it hard to believe that his subordinates or the entire company genuinely lament his retirement. Yet, he seems to wholeheartedly believe so. Why do you think I let you work outside? What's the meaning of not being able to prepare even $330 for a retirement drinking party? What use are you? If you're not going to be of any help, you might as well have continued being a housewife. I was shocked, wondering if he was serious, but I managed to swallow the words I was about to say. When my husband said he wanted to buy a house 5 years ago, he couldn't pass the loan screening with just his credit. That's why we had taken out the loan under both our names. I vividly remember the paperwork, the mountain of documents, and the interviews from that time, but it seems my husband has forgotten. As my husband was about to raise his voice and criticize me further, he suddenly stopped speaking. The footsteps entering the living room belonged to our eldest son's wife, Rose. Perhaps not wanting to behave too roughly in front of her, my husband momentarily quieted down. Rose, who entered the room with a big yawn as if she was tired, is young at 28. Her casual attire, exposing quite a bit of skin, remained unchanged even in front of her father-in-law in his late 60s, and the hem of her casual shorts was slightly rolled up. She began living in this house after marrying our eldest son, Jack. But I wish she would reconsider her attire in front of her father-in-law. Yawn, good morning. Oh, father-in-law, is it already time for you to go to work? My husband's face instantly brightened, and he playfully squeezed Rose's shoulder as he replied. Rose, you're lively and cute as always today. This old lady here might want to take a leaf out of your book. It seemed my husband was enjoying comparing the youthful charm of 28-year-old Rose with me, now in my 60s. But honestly, I have no intention of being upset by such things. Good morning, Rose. Jack had his breakfast and went to work. He said there was no need to wake you up, so don't worry. Rose, still half asleep, gave a little yawn and waved her hand, seemingly taking me lightly. Yeah, I know. When I woke up, Jack wasn't in bed. And it seems he prefers your cooking over mine anyway. I've come to expect this kind of behavior from Rose, but there's still a lingering feeling of unease in my heart. Rose, I've already given Emma her breakfast. She ate heartily, and afterward, I helped her with brushing her teeth and changing her clothes. She looked a bit sleepy, so I've laid out a mattress for her in the other room, and she's resting there. Emma is a vibrant 5-year-old girl born from Rose's previous marriage. While Rose is flashy and stands out, Emma has a gentle face like a little angel. She's somewhat reserved, just a typical preschooler. In my heart, this little granddaughter holds a special place. Indeed, there's no blood relation, but the joy I felt having a grandchild for the first time came when she entered our home. I still work and send Emma to daycare during the day, but I look forward to spending more time with her after I retire in 5 years. Yeah, thanks. It's obvious she's a grandma's girl. Keep taking care of her. Thanks. Rose said this to me while yawning. It pains me to see Rose showing so little interest in her young daughter. She was once a single mother raising her child alone. 2 years ago, when Rose was working a short-term part-time job at the electronics store where Jack worked, Jack was instantly smitten and made this proposal. Emma's getting attached to me too. We can become a family. When I heard these words, doubts and concerns welled up inside me. I nodded, feeling it wasn't my place to interfere as his mother. However, I wondered if Jack, with his limited romantic experience, could take on the role of a father to such a young child. Children are pure beings who don't know adults' complex feelings or backgrounds. She's not to blame for anything. I wouldn't want her to experience sadness or hardships. Maybe consider living together if you're thinking of marrying? I think we can support your little daughter together. I was excited when Jack came home and said Rose happily accepted my suggestion. But on the first day of living together, Rose drank several cans of beer on the living room sofa and fell asleep right there. It was quite unmanly to fall asleep like that, leaving a 3-year-old child unattended. The more time passed, the more I felt Rose's recklessness and thick-skinned nature grew. Despite this, my husband always doted on Rose. Even when I voiced my concerns about her attitude considering Jack's feelings, my husband would just scoff and brush it off. I get why Jack would be infatuated with a young and attractive woman like Rose, and you're just jealous because I've taken a liking to her too. But no matter how you look at it, there's no comparison between you and Rose. My husband's words only intensified the discontent and discomfort growing inside me. If I were a few years younger, even if she was Jack's wife, I wouldn't have hesitated. I'm constantly shocked by my husband's behavior and statements. I had no idea he had this kind of side when we first got married. Seeing his attitude, Rose acts as if she's in a higher position than me. Oh, mother-in-law, don't get so worked up. Trying to compete with me at 60? You can't possibly win. It's just exhausting. I have no intention of competing with her. Age is just a number, and it doesn't define a person's worth. I've never felt Rose surpassing me until now. Grandma, I want some chilled barley tea. Along with her sweet voice, a refreshed Emma came out from the other room. All right, I'll prepare the barley tea. Would you like to drink it from the new mug I chose for you yesterday? When I brought the new mug from the kitchen, Emma's face instantly brightened. Wow, there are so many animals. Is this a bear and a giraffe? Did Grandma pick this out for me? Watching Emma delighted by the animal illustrations on the mug was the most endearing sight. Yes, just as I promised, it looks like the animals came to visit a bit early before our zoo trip. I'm glad you like it. I gently held Emma's small hand. As Emma smiled, she noticed Rose playing with her phone on the sofa. Oh, Mom. Are you awake? Good morning, Mom. Watching Emma greet her mother so innocently makes my heart ache. Ever since living with Rose, I feel her maternal emotions for Emma waning. It doesn't seem like she dislikes the child, but her interest in Emma is noticeably thinning. Rose once said she reluctantly chose to marry her ex-husband because she was pregnant with Emma. I feel sorry for Emma, so I want to support her in any way I can. Neither my husband nor Jack seem to scold Rose for her attitude. Instead, they seem to think that I am at home to take care of everyone, and they look down on me. I can sense from the attitudes and words of my husband, Jack, and Rose that they believe my only purpose is to serve. I now understand why my eldest daughter, Erin, chose to distance herself from them. Erin is 2 years older than Jack, making her 35. Before we bought this house 5 years ago, she had steadily built her career and was promoted to the position of the company president's secretary. Erin, who has been enjoying living on her own for 4 years, seems to have some concern for me in her heart, as she visits the house twice a week. And, for little Emma, Erin is a very important aunt. Emma always looks forward to spending time with Erin. She's so beautiful, always kind, knows everything, and shares many stories. That's why I love Aunt Erin so much. Emma is very attached to Erin. The fact that she turned out so well behaved is not a result of Rose's upbringing. It seems that before the remarriage, Rose's parents provided a good education for their granddaughter. Emma, you're always such a good girl. Every time I praise her for good behavior, Emma responds with a bright smile. My grandparents taught me various things every day, so I can be fine wherever I go. I can't help but wonder how, after being raised by such parents, Rose turned out so rude. It's undeniable the strong educational influence her parents had, especially seeing how well-behaved Emma is. One night, my husband suddenly made a declaration. "Jack, I've decided to transfer the ownership of this house from Emily's name to yours. This house will belong to you and your wife. I intend to pass it down to you." I was shocked by my husband's words. I wondered if he had lost his mind. How could he think of transferring this house, which is under my name, to his eldest son and his wife? As I was stunned, Rose jumped up from the sofa and ran around the living room like a playful child. "Oh, dear mother-in-law, are you shocked? But it's my father-in-law's wish. This will be our house. You should just leave." Then Rose laughed loudly in front of me. Next to her stood Jack, who remained silent with a downcast expression. I was at a loss for words, not knowing how to react. Here's the translation based on your rules. I felt sympathy for myself for having worked hard for the house loan. "I understand, I will leave." I declared it indifferently and began to pack my belongings in silence. Only Emma, who had witnessed everything, looked at me with a worried face. I can't abandon her no matter what happens. Given the circumstances, I won't let this slide easily. I made a silent vow of revenge against my husband and Rose, who have belittled me, and Jack, who saw everything but said nothing. The next day, I was engrossed in my work as usual. When lunch break came, my eldest daughter contacted me at just the right time. "Mom, I was a bit shocked by the email yesterday." "What happened? Why would Dad make such a statement?" There was evident anger in Erin's voice, and I could feel her emotions even over the phone. "Actually, I received an email a while ago. It said he would prefer to live with his eldest son and daughter-in-law and hand over the house, which is in my name, to them. I'll forward you the email later." Erin took a moment and then, in a calm voice, seemed to want to understand how I felt. "For now, the property remains in my name. I stayed in a business hotel last night, but would it be all right if I stayed at your place for a bit? I'm retiring in 5 years, and I'll plan everything properly. Of course, you're more than welcome. Pack up quickly and come over. Let's live together." However, there was a hint of concern in Erin's voice, and she posed a question infused with that sentiment. "But, the house loan is under your name, right? Isn't it risky to leave not only the house, but also the loan and go out on your own?" She seemed to be thinking as she spoke. "I remember. You proceeded with the house loan under your name, but are you thinking of using the idea I proposed before?" During lunchtime, there were only a few people around. That's why I laughed out loud. Erin also let out a genuine laugh. "Jack is something else, isn't he? It seems he completely forgot that I've been paying the loan all along." At that remark, Erin's laughter seemed to grow louder. I couldn't witness firsthand how my husband and Jack would react, but they, who had been so overbearing towards me, should face reality. When I returned home, Rose snorted in laughter upon seeing me. "Why did you come back? Didn't you hear what my father-in-law said? This place is ours now. Mother-in-law, just leave quickly." I thought to myself, it's still in my name, but didn't vocalize it. Instead, I smirked internally thinking, just wait and see how things unfold for you all. Exactly, I just came to pick up a few things. I don't intend to get in your way. By the way, do as you please with my bed. A look of confusion appeared on Rose's face. Wait, bed disposal? Why should we pay for it? It's a stranger's bed, after all. I expected that response. Late that night, in front of my husband and eldest son's family, I took out a thick envelope and slowly placed it on the table. Inside this, There's $1,900. It's the money I've set aside to dispose of my bed and chest. I've obtained a quote from a disposal company in advance, and I've enclosed a copy for you to check. The estimate is $1,400. Thus, the remaining $500 is for you as a service fee. A smug smile briefly crossed Rose's face. She must have wanted the money. I went to my room to gather the things I needed. At that moment, a small shadow appeared from the gap in the door. Emma's eyes were filled with anxiety, and I couldn't leave her like that. I made up my mind, left a note behind, gently took Emma's hand, and stepped outside the house with her. While many concerns accompany taking Emma with me, considering an environment where she can live with peace of mind, being with me seems optimal. Emma, I'm really sorry for suddenly dragging you into this situation. But how about we stay at Aunt Erin's house for a few days? I'm sure we'll have a good time there. Everything will be fine as long as we're together. I feel safe wherever I go, as long as I'm with Grandma. I think Aunt Erin's house will be fun too. Watching the scenery flow by from the taxi window, Emma started to speak. Her words warmed my heart. I realized that I have someone who cares for and believes in me by my side. Yes, I will not give up. Actually, Erin recently received a marriage proposal from the president of the company she works for. While she was considering how to tell her husband, this situation unfolded. I thought to myself, just you wait and see. You're the third person who has treated me terribly. With Emma in tow, I went to Erin's house, and she welcomed us warmly. I haven't felt this happy in a long time. I'm so grateful to Erin for extending her hand to help us. I can't thank her enough. I'm also relieved from the bottom of my heart about Emma's future, now that such a wonderful story has come her way. You've really found a wonderful partner. I'm proud of you. Erin showed a shy smile. I had been wondering why she chose to live alone when she left home, and now I finally understood. I thought we were just an ordinary family, believing all men were like that. And that not understanding this was naive. But it seems I underestimated Erin's wisdom back then. Soon, the time to avenge your grievances, Mom, will come. I'm really looking forward to that moment too. And just as Erin predicted, 2 weeks later, the moment arrived. Rose knocked on the door of Erin's luxurious apartment with force. Her face was red, and her voice was shrill. What the hell is going on? Call out the old lady. Erin with a sly smile, Erin led Rose to the Western-style room where I was. Everything was going according to plan. Oh my, who do we have here? It's the first time we're meeting, isn't it? I spoke to Rose with movements reminiscent of someone aged, and in slow words, pretending as if I didn't recognize her. Stop this joke right now. Grandma. As Rose's emotions burst forth, moving aggressively towards me, Erin stopped her. My mother is in this condition now. She may have to be admitted to the care facility where she works. Even if we say our ties are now cut, do you intend to use violence against her, an elderly woman who was once your mother-in-law? Rose looked back and forth between Erin and me, her expression one of shock. So, has Grandma gone senile? Rose's voice was small, shaky. I'll explain the details after the diagnosis. That being said, I'm glad I advised my mother on the parent-child loan 5 years ago. The mortgage debt for the house was completed last month on her part. Rose is unaware of such matters. She probably doesn't know about the parent-child loan, nor would she easily understand what it entails. Actually, my mother's loan was only for the first 5 years. Jack is to bear the burden for the next 10 years. Thanks to the structure of the parent-child loan, as long as you make monthly payments, you won't have to worry about losing the house. Hearing Aaron's explanation, Rose, overwhelmed with surprise, knelt on the spot. Documents related to that arrived yesterday, but Jack had completely forgotten about the parent-child loan. It caught him off guard. My father-in-law had a financial accident and couldn't pass the loan review. He's already retired and told Jack to handle everything. What on earth are we supposed to do now? Indeed, that financial mishap. Unbeknownst to me, my husband had incurred debt, which led to significant problems. That was the reason for failing the loan review. At that moment, Emma, who was in Aaron's room, quietly appeared. Emma, were you hiding here? Rose probably hadn't spared a thought for her daughter, whom she hadn't seen in 2 weeks. I believe she, along with 2 others, was preoccupied with their own matters and had conveniently forgotten any troubling issues. It's been a while, Mom. Aunt Erin explained everything to me clearly. I plan to live with Grandma and Aunt Erin from now on. Oh, and also with the company president Aunt Erin is going to marry. The president promised me that we would become a happy family in a new home. Given all the wrong things you've done to Grandma, I don't need you anymore. Goodbye. Rose, taken aback by the earnest words of Emma, who still showed traces of her youth, seemed to have lost her voice. While trying to form a reply, she remained speechless until Aaron took her by the arm and stood her up. My mother and Emma will be looked after by us. You should go home now and think about your future. With a warm smile, Aaron spoke to Rose, leading her towards the door and outside. Hey, how was my senile act? Pretty convincing, right? Approaching Aaron, who had entered the room, Emily laughed, prompting Aaron to burst into laughter as well. Mom, you might actually have some acting talent. Beside them, Emma slowly walked towards me and took a seat next to me. She then tightly gripped my arm with her small, warm hand. Grandma, is it okay for me to stay here? Our home situation got so bad because of my mom. Her voice was filled with tears. Emma is my precious granddaughter. I vowed to protect her and ensure her happiness. Emma, you are Grandma's most precious treasure. I would be so happy if you'd stay with me forever. I held the crying Emma tightly in my arms. It felt like a moment when I realized we could build a happy future with those who truly loved and trusted us. Jack's salary, of course, isn't sufficient for the monthly loan repayments. Since the house is under my name, my husband came with Jack to discuss starting over and repaying the loan. I have chosen to live in Aaron's house. Aaron's fiancé has prepared a spacious and lovely room for Emma, and has provided us with a new detached house. Now that the debt issue has been resolved, I no longer have any connection with you. Please live happily. The house is still under my name, so let's discuss the details in an appropriate place. Afterward, I couldn't witness how much dispute occurred between the 3 of them or the harsh words exchanged, but I'm slightly curious about it. It seems Rose, not wanting to be caught up in such a commotion, took the luxury jewelry from the house and quickly left. My husband and Jack felt it was difficult to continue living in that house. But lacking the finances to live separately, they chose to move to a 2K apartment. After some time, I received a phone call notifying me of the address change. I really did understand your worth. But that wife of mine manipulated me. She ruined our peaceful household and in the end, ran away. Are you blaming everything on Rose? If you've forgotten, try to remember the events since we decided to buy that house. Reflect on how selfish, inconsiderate, rude, and incompetent you were. I recommend that you reflect and live humbly from now on. Honestly, there's more I'd like to say, but if I said everything, it would never end. What is Jack planning to do from now on? I still asked my son, as his mother. He seems to be preoccupied with the debt issue. Also, it appears his colleagues found out, and his position at the electronics store has become challenging. I felt that he was trying to tug at my heartstrings. Perhaps he wants to keep me close for some ulterior motive. Well, both of you should figure things out. I've already initiated the divorce proceedings. In fact, legally speaking, we haven't been a couple for the past 3 days. Remember how you used to flaunt the divorce papers to upset me? I've been storing it all along. I've put it to good use. I told him this while laughing heartily. Legally, he's now a complete stranger to me. Although I believe we have come a long way as a family, it's time to say goodbye to those enduring days. Moving forward in life, I choose to spend it with people I trust. 5 years have passed, and I have finally reached the significant age of 65, marking my retirement. Grandma, welcome home. You've worked hard for so long. My 10-year-old granddaughter, who had been waiting for my return, greets me with a joyous smile. Aunt Erin called and said she'll be home soon too. Grandma, take it easy from now on. Emma's hug warms my heart. My previous home is now rented out. I don't know what kind of lives my former husband and Jack lead nowadays. I have no desire to communicate with them. My life is complete with Erin, Erin's husband, and my dear granddaughter Emma. The true family I cherish is the 4 of us. If our family were to expand in the future, it would undoubtedly be Erin's children.